Recovery means to me is freedom and peace.
There is hope.
Recovery is awesome.
Recovery works.
Recovery is possible. There is hope.
Recovery is possible. There is hope.
Recovery to me means freedom. Recovery is possible.
Recovery works. Recovery is always possible. It's fantastic.
Progress, not perfection.
Recovery is possible.
Recovery works.
Recovery is a journey, not a destination.
Hello, welcome to Montana's Peer Network Recovery Talks podcast. This is the Gold Sauce edition. So I know you've been waiting for this. I put out a little teaser in Recovery Month, and it took us a while to get organized, but this is the Gold Sauce edition of Recovery Talks. Thanks for tuning in. And today, it's myself and Andi, and I don't get to do a lot of podcasts with you.
No, we don't get together that often in these kind of spaces.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And I've really been looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So the Gold Sauce edition, here we go. We've been hyping this up. We've had this idea. It's sort of been churning around for quite a while. And so let's jump in. So we both had an experience at the Golden Arches.
Yes, we did. They released this limited edition gold sauce. Yep, absolutely. I got my little packet of gold sauce here too. Oh, can't see it with my background.
Yeah, gold sauce.
There, right. So only for a limited time. So we had to get out there and give it a try. So I actually have not tried it yet. So I have my I have my little crispy strip here. Which are new, yes. Right? Yeah, they're different than chicken McNuggets, right? These nuggets, are like
right? Yeah.
Fingers, right? Like,
yeah.
All right. So
go for it. Go for it.
Try the sauce. It's kind of honey mustard kind of.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It has a honey mustard flavor. Now, what do you think about the chicken? Like, try the chicken without the sauce on it. Tell me what you think about the chicken, because I have some ideas. Well,
I mean, it's better than the chicken McNuggets, right?
Yes.
Like, it feels more like chicken.
I think it actually is chicken this time. I think it actually is chicken. I think it is. I ordered the chicken sandwich.
Oh.
I ordered the chicken sandwich because I wanted to see what that was like.
With the sauce?
With the sauce. And I agree with you. And the sauce is good. The gold sauce is good. I thought the chicken sandwich tasted very, very similar to the KFC original chicken sandwich.
Oh.
Because the KFC chicken sandwich is really nothing but the chicken breast.
Right.
Off the bone, right? And it comes with pickles and a little sauce. This one came the same way. It came in, it had pickles, and then you put your own sauce on. It was, and I thought it was pretty good. I'm not a big McDonald's person.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten at McDonald's for like 20 years. So even when I walked in, I was like looking around. And
it's totally different. It is a totally different experience than it was 20 years ago.
There were these like touch screens and stuff, and people were coming in, and like I just went up to the counter, like old school style, I guess, and I'm like, what's the gold thing? They're like, oh, there's nuggets and sandwiches and sauces. And I'm like, okay, give me all that. But I also asked them for a quarter pounder. I mean, a quarter pounder in so long. I couldn't even remember what it tasted like.
I've never eaten anything like that at McDonald's.
It's
I know the song.
Yeah, like growing up I ate at McDonald's, but the Super Size Me, that documentary, that's when I stopped. And I stopped eating there because of things like it's not real chicken in the chicken nuggets. And and it was just, that thing was so shocking to me. I totally stopped eating there. So the other thing I'll say about the inside of the store is it was really nice in the store I was in. It was more like a cafe
Yeah.
than a fast food restaurant. I mean, there was like comfy seats and artwork on the walls, and and again, haven't been in one, so didn't know what to.
I've seen the evolution here, right? Because we have had the same McDonald's here since I was a kid, right? And when having a birthday party at McDonald's was like the thing to do when I was a kid, right? And going from those hard, bright yellow benches, right? Through multiple different ways, different things. And ours is totally different than it used to be. Yeah, it's completely different inside.
It's like reminded me of like, restaurants, how fast food restaurants, how they used to be when I was a kid. It was more like a cafe and more comfortable and all that kind of stuff. So I was impressed by that for sure. And I thought the chicken sandwich was fine. I like the gold sauce, and the quarter pounder, like I would give it like a 5 out of 10. I mean,
that's not bad.
It wasn't bad. Yeah, it wasn't, for a fast food burger.
Yeah,
it wasn't bad, and I was like, oh, right? I mean, it had onions and cheese and pickles and, ketchup and mustard. I think that's what it was.
2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Is that what's all on it?
Yes, that's the song. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I haven't heard that in a long time. Yeah. I thought it was fine. It was like, but it was an experience because it had been so long. Yeah. So very interesting, but I liked the sauce, and now the sauce is gone. Is this what you're saying? You were saying it's
I went today. I mean, I'd gotten the gold sauce last week or something, right? I stopped with the gold sauce. I hadn't tried it yet, but so I went today to get some chicken strips and asked for the gold sauce, and they said, no, we don't have it anymore. So apparently it was a very short thing, because we didn't find this that long ago.
No. Yeah, it was like September. It was like maybe about a month ago.
Yeah.
I think when I went in. I wonder if it didn't go over. I wonder if
I don't know. I mean, they say special edition, so I don't know what the plan was for that, right? Like the McRib is not available all the time, right? It's comes and goes.
Right. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
It's a good marketing tool, because then people get really excited when it comes back.
It is. And I always think about this too, like why restaurants don't offer more sauces with their food. I mean, like if you order chicken nuggets, they'll say honey mustard or barbecue or whatever.
Yeah.
But I always wonder about that, why places don't offer more sauces and let people sauce their own sandwiches, because sauce is cheap. Like you can make a pump thing or individual. I mean, it's so cheap, like, right? And the
because like in Arby's, they have the little pumps, right? So they don't even have to package those sauces if they're in the pumps. So
exactly. And I always wondered why other places didn't kind of catch on to that. Instead of just, we'll put the sauce on and give it to you. Let people just sauce their own thing, and then you could package it up and you could sell it. Like now you see when you go to the grocery store, you see fast food places,
Chick-fil-A, Arby's.
Yeah. They're selling it in the stores.
Yeah. Somebody said that this gold sauce tastes like Chick-fil-A sauce.
Oh.
I've never eaten a Chick-fil-A, so.
Interesting. Yeah. It's I'm not a fast food person in general. I will occasionally, but not McDonald's.
I have a craving for their fries every once in a while.
Well, they say they have the best French fries of any fast food place. That's right. Like that's
but the trick is both salt and sugar.
Oh,
because
they put sugar.
you put the sugar on before you fry them. I mean, you can do it at home somewhat. It's not going to be exactly the same, but if you put sugar on them before you fry them, then it crisps them up, right? Because it makes the sugar sort of caramelizes on the
Right.
outside of them.
That's their trick.
So that's part of, yeah, that's part of their trick.
And are they the ones somebody told me once about they have milk in them too?
Oh, maybe. I don't
There's
know.
milk. There's some kind of milk. I think it's McDonald's,
Hmm.
but I'm pretty sure they always rank McDonald's fries the best fries of any fast food place.
My
Yeah.
kid always orders his without salt because that means they have to make a new batch.
Oh, right.
And then he puts salt on them, right? So you're getting like the freshest fries if you
Right.
ask for them without
Right.
salt.
Not sitting there because they're making basket after basket. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Well, this whole talk about gold sauce is what birthed the idea of making the gold sauce edition of the podcast. And let's dig into it.
All right.
Unless you got something else on
No, I don't have anything else on McDonald's.
Golden Arches, on the Golden
Yes,
Arches.
yes.
And is McDonald's the oldest restaurant, fast food? Is it the oldest, in America?
I
Gotta
think,
be up there.
yeah, I think it's like one of the oldest franchise ones, right?
Franchise.
Like,
Maybe
yeah,
that's what it is.
yeah,
Maybe that's what it is. The one more thing I'm thinking about McDonald's, when I travel to Billings on I-90, Columbus is a
Yeah.
good stopping point, right? There's a
Yep.
huge truck stop there, and they're building a bigger truck stop.
Oh,
But the amazing thing is, across the street from the original one was a McDonald's, and it was always packed because so
Yeah.
many people stop. They, get snacks, go to the bathroom, get some fuel, get back on the highway. They tore it down.
oh,
They tore down the McDonald's. I was thinking, I don't know if I've ever seen them actually tear down. And so they're building the new one across the street where the McDonald's was. There's a brand new, I'm not sure if it's Town Pump or Flying
or
J,
Flying
one of
J,
those.
right.
These massive,
Island.
where they're huge
Yeah.
and there's,
Yeah.
but
Huh.
I thought, wow, that's interesting because
Yeah, I would think that they would be doing all kinds of business there. Right?
Yes.
There's nothing else.
totally.
Something
I mean,
else there.
anytime you go by a McDonald's, it's packed with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I mean, like it seemed like they're all always busy. And so I found that interesting because they're franchised. So
Yeah, yeah,
I think they're making tons of money and
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they're going to open another one.
Another
somewhere
one.
in
Yeah.
Columbus. Yeah, maybe it's going to be down the street or something. I don't know because Columbus isn't a big town.
Yeah. And you're not going to want to go, I mean, people just get off the highway and right back on, right? It's not like you're going to go down into town.
Searching around. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. All right. So we're going to jump into the SAMHSA's new strategic initiatives. Strategic priorities.
Yeah.
I want to make sure
Yeah.
I'm saying it right because there is a shift that has happened here. And if you are not aware, and Andy and I are still trying to wrap our heads around it all, because it used to be initiatives. Now it's priorities, and some are the same, but some have changed. And so we want to talk about it and put some gold sauce on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we got the email a month ago, about a month ago.
Yep.
Wasn't that when that came out?
Yep.
And if you haven't seen this is available. If you just do a search on SAMHSA on the website, SAMHSA Strategic Priorities. I got it, actually right about a month ago.
Yeah.
And so they've outlined 7 pages and kind of outlined what they're going to focus on. Not sure how this is different. They used to call it the initiatives, and it was part of a strategic plan, and then it got kind of broken down. This is laid out a little bit different.
Yeah.
And, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
And
not quite as in-depth as a strategic plan is,
right,
right? It's like an overview. It doesn't really give you many details.
exactly, exactly. And it says right in the first paragraph, this document provides a detailed overview, and I'm laughing because there are no details in it.
No, there are not.
Detailed overview of SAMHSA's strategic priorities. And then I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it also then pulls in this other new change, which is SAMHSA's committed to the mission outlined in the Make America Healthy Again, which they're calling MAHA,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like when they first started using that term, I didn't even know what they were talking about. I was like, what is MAHA? It sounds like a drink from Hawaii or something. I'm like, what is MAHA? I had to look it up to see
Yeah.
what are they talking about. So it says this is in alignment with the mission of Make America Healthy Again Commission report to deliver better health outcomes. SAMHSA is committed to the mission, and this is the second sentence. I'm literally reading the way this is written. SAMHSA is committed to the mission outlined in the Make America Healthy Again Commission report to deliver better health outcomes. End of the first sentence. SAMHSA is committed to the mission outlined in the Make America Healthy Again Commission report and the Make Our Children Healthy Again strategy to deliver better health outcomes. So this is the first part I want us to talk about is we have apps called Grammarly and Word that will actually correct your English so you're using proper tense and you're not repeating the same things over again, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm an average writer. We write, you write articles, I write articles. We've been doing it for years. We got books. We teach the staff how to write articles. I don't consider myself to be an editor or a scholarly person, but if I look at those two sentences, that's really a use of poor English and sentence structure.
Yeah.
Because one sentence literally repeats exactly what the other sentence said.
Yes, you could totally combine those into one sentence. And
Exactly.
yes.
Great. And so I like, did nobody edit this?
I am so picky about grammar and stuff anyway, right? Like I do have an editor kind of brain.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm like, yeah, I can't even, like, I'm just going to skim this because I can't even deal with what is happening. So
when we talk, give a speech, a training, a presentation, even now in a podcast, we don't always use proper sentence structure, and we do run-on sentences and put a lot of ands and ifs and buts. But when you write something, you type it out or write it, there are rules to how we write sentences. And the first paragraph looks like a junior high student wrote it.
Yep.
That's the level it's at. Because there's no way you could write that and have to go, hey, could you edit this for me and tell me what you think of this? There's no way you read that and you go, oh yeah, that sounds great to me.
Well, there is this concept of writing at like an 8th grade level or a 5th grade level or whatever, but that doesn't mean that you write like a 5th grader, right? You just don't, you use terms that are easy to understand.
That's right.
That kind of stuff, right? But
yeah, simplifying what you're saying. But if you're writing 2 sentences and you repeat the first sentence in the second sentence and then go and add more, all of that should be removed and either make it one sentence or you can have 2 sentences, but then you have to put a period and a capital letter and you start the next sentence. I can't believe this went out the door from our federal government. And that's the first paragraph of a 7-page document.
Yeah.
So we're not going to go through the whole thing. I'm not trying to nitpick anything, but the fact that we're repeating the same words over again is just, yeah, it's hard to understand how that could be. And the other thing we're going to keep on talking about is in the middle of that paragraph, for the first time ever, I've ever heard this. SAMHSA will provide interventions and programs that are based on gold standard science and research.
So they were using the term evidence-based practices, right? And there are issues with that, right? Like, I mean, we've talked about that before about what is really evidence-based, but that at least makes sense from a science perspective to say evidence-based, right? We've tested this, we have evidence that works or doesn't work or whatever. Right. Nobody uses gold standard, like, because what does that mean? Nobody knows what that means.
You get a gold star today. You're a scientist and you gold sauced it today. You know, you poured some gold sauce on it and now it's the standard.
Now it's,
I don't know what that means either.
Yeah.
Does it mean we're going to have a new rating system for evidence-based practices and they're going to rank it?
You had a bronze star or silver star.
Exactly. That's what I'm wondering. Yeah. Like, is that what that means? Because I don't understand. That's the first time. And it's later on in the document too.
Yeah.
And this whole topic of goldifying everything. Can someone explain that to me?
Yeah.
Again, we're still in the first paragraph of a 7-page document. And it's like, what is that? Yeah. Those were the things for me when I first read this. I got the email. I thought, oh, what is this? You know, opened it up. I love reading stuff from SAMHSA.
Mm-hmm.
They've been a friend to us through the years.
Yep.
And yeah, it's wonderful. But right away it's like, oh, okay. So let's move
past the first paragraph.
That's the first paragraph here as we try to dissect what SAMHSA is talking about, right? So
yeah.
That second section there's two parts to it. SAMHSA's also committed, in addition to all the other commitments they've made in the first paragraph, which are quite a few, they're committed to the execution of these strategic priorities, first and foremost being the Health and Human Services Agency that is responsive and targeted in responding to departmental, capitalized, and administration, also capitalized, priorities.
There needs to be a comma in there. Sorry.
Okay, so a comma, but also why is departmental and administration capitalized?
Yeah.
You used HHS
earlier. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I don't understand what that even means. Nobody read through this. Using this continual lens, SAMHSA will leverage their data expertise, resources, training, and technical assistance to advance. Okay, now we're getting into, because we have from 2023, we already have a strategic plan that was supposed to run through 2026.
Yep.
So now we got some different things. And yeah.
And I mean, some of the things are the same.
Exactly.
What I noticed, the biggest difference here is that this new one isn't a plan, right? It's not a strategic plan. It sort of says it is, but it's not, right? A strategic plan has goals and objectives and deliverables and those kinds of things. And so, we have this big document, this 2023-2026 document that starts with the same priorities, some of the same priorities, right?
Yes.
But then goes on to explain how those things should be implemented. So in the second part, when they say we're going to leverage our data expertise, resources, training, and technical assistance, I'm like, okay, but what are those things? Where are you getting those things? How would we
That's right.
find those things
That's right. That's right.
to be working on these priorities. Like where is that information? Because
Yeah.
honestly, the information isn't accessible in a lot of
No.
ways. So
Exactly. No, I would agree. And I mean, we know that HRSA would be part of that, but a lot this all comes from the contractors or grantees. That's where it comes from. People like MPN. I mean,
yeah,
we're the ones putting in data into a system, right?
yeah,
It's not SAMHSA. It's not SAMHSA putting the data into the system.
right.
It's all of these grantees and contractors across the country. Every state has them, and all different projects and things. And I agree with you. We don't have access to that. We've never have.
No, no.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've done reports before,
Yes.
um, but
Yes.
sometimes it's helpful to see
Yeah.
where that stuff is coming from, or what the projects were that got that, because depending on how you implement your project, your data points are going to be
Yes.
different, right? Like,
well, SAMHSA's always, I mean, this is my feeling. This is 14 years of working with SAMHSA. My experience is SAMHSA's like, you're the expert, Jim.
right.
You're the expert in peer support and recovery. So you tell us, you go execute a project, put your data in this system. They don't tell us. They don't tell us how to do the project. We make the project, we execute it. Yeah, so I don't understand that, because again, I'm going to go back to, this is going to be based on the gold standard science and research.
Well, in that paragraph, they say they're committed to the execution, but they're not the ones who execute.
They don't execute it. They don't do any of those things. And so let's just read the list so everybody knows. The preventing substance misuse, abuse, and addiction, which I think is very similar to what it was before, right? I think it's super simple. Addressing serious mental illness, same thing. I think those were expanding crisis intervention care and services. I think that's also was in the original one, right?
Yeah.
But then it gets different.
A little different. They're stated a little differently, but
yeah. But then this is where it starts getting different. Improving access to evidence-based treatment for mental illness, substance use, and co-occurring disorders. Helping individuals achieve long-term recovery, and this is totally new, sobriety. I don't think I've ever read anything that SAMHSA said sobriety is different than recovery.
Right.
The 10 guiding principles don't say sobriety, they say recovery. And it doesn't matter what kind of recovery you're in. These are the principles that would guide you in that journey, and your family and organizations. Yeah. So to me, this is a significant shift in, now we're going to differentiate sobriety from recovery.
Well, and you'll see later that they are not supportive of harm reduction things, right? So that's where that sobriety thing is, right? Because you wouldn't, people who are in harm reduction, right, wouldn't necessarily be qualified as sober, right? Depending on your thing, right? Like some 12 steps will say you can't be on any medication, you can't ever have a drink, that kind of thing. And so that's the definition of of sobriety, which I think is why that hasn't been used as a term in the past, right? Because harm reduction is a valid recovery path for some people. It doesn't require sobriety necessarily, right?
That's very interesting, Andy. That's a very interesting perspective. I had somebody say this to me in training not that long ago. They said there's a big difference between sobriety and recovery. Yeah. And I don't know if they had read this document, they could. And so they could be, but it's very interesting, like that, how they're stating that, and I'm very curious. Yeah, yeah, we'll get into the harm reduction thing.
Yeah.
We'll get into there. The next one is helping individuals achieve, or sorry, I read that one, identifying and addressing emerging behavioral health threats.
Yeah, that is a weird sentence.
Yeah, what do you think that is?
I mean,
Is it like,
oh my gosh,
is
it
it like-
feels to me as a parent like
yeah,
we're going to identify what you're doing wrong that is going to cause your kid to have a behavioral health issue, right? Like that
like
hits
red
me as a
dye.
parent. Yeah, like red dye. I mean, that hits me. And with all of the Tylenol stuff that's come out, right? Are you
Okay.
to blame
Okay.
me
Yes.
because I took Tylenol, which I'm going to tell
Yes.
you, everybody who doesn't have autism, also their parents took Tylenol because it's the only
right.
thing you can take, right?
right.
Like,
That's right.
so I feel like that, and I don't know if that I'm reading into that. I'm probably reading into that more than,
Is
but,
it a little
but that's what it feels like to me,
Yeah.
is that we are
Yeah.
going to figure out why you have depression or, whatever.
Yeah,
And we're going to try to eliminate that. And
schizophrenia. Yeah.
does that
Yeah.
mean we're taking you
Yeah.
away from your parents because your parents are causing, right? Like it feels very bad to me.
I'm with you. I'm with you because again, I've never seen SAMHSA talk about behavioral health threats.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and the head of HHS said on the record, red dye and now the leader said Tylenol, and and that's what I wonder, if this is like some sort of targeted, where the gold standard science is actually skewed, and then we're going to say it's from this or it's from that or it's from, I mean, we've been researching mental health for a long time. I mean, right?
If there was an easy cause and effect, we would have found it and we would be doing something about it. Like I'm totally in favor of getting rid of artificial dyes and things like that, just from a general health perspective. Also, red dye actually does cause migraines for me, so that's an issue for me, right? I get that.
Yeah.
But
we know that. Yeah.
There's no cause and effect. I don't think there's even a correlation at this point, which is what there's that whole difference between correlation and cause and effect. But I don't even think that exists at this point, that those things are correlated with that. And so how do you define a threat without cause and effect data to go with it, right?
So I'm going to gold sauce this one. I'm going to gold sauce this one.
All right.
We're going to deploy special forces into Mexico and Venezuela and into the ocean, and we're going to use the military to take care of behavioral health threats. That's how you gold sauce it.
Yep.
Right? Like if, the whole thing around substance use, and you can use all these different terms: addiction, misuse, abuse, whatever. People who are using street drugs or abusing prescription drugs or whatever. I mean, people don't wake up in the morning and go, "Hey, I think I'll become an alcoholic today." Right. I mean, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. And there's not commercials on TV selling street drugs from cartels and whatever. Like that's not. Yeah. Okay. So the way I feel about it is, I think it has a lot to do with people not being equipped to handle their life. Mm-hmm. So escape through substances, through alcohol, pot, whatever, any drug you want, whatever, opioids, it doesn't matter, And so if people weren't willing to buy drugs, we wouldn't have a problem with people selling drugs, because there'd be no one for them to sell it to. And going after with the military, saying this is a threat, this is a terrorist, to me that's gold saucing. And all it does is eliminate A so B can move up in line and become A.
Right.
Because it doesn't address the fundamental
No.
issue of people are hurting and they don't have the tools. They're not equipped to handle whatever's going on in their life, losses, trauma, all that kind of stuff. It's not even going to barely touch it, because we grew up in the 80s with a war on drugs.
I know, and the DARE
How'd that
program.
work out?
Oh my gosh, I did not go through the DARE program, but my brother did. My brother's 4 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And that did absolutely no good. Actually, my mom thinks it did more harm than good, because it equated everything. Smoking cigarettes was the same as doing heroin, right? It equated everything.
Right.
And
Just say no.
Yeah.
Just say no. That's you know what I mean? That was the motto in all these DARE programs. Yep. It didn't solve anything. We already had a war on drugs. So now I guess we're having the second war on drugs.
Yeah.
That's to me.
I feel like we got away from that war on drugs, right? Because it wasn't working. You can't just throw people in jail and fix the problem. And so this feels like a step back into that. We're just going to penalize everything and
you're
punish people, and that's just
that's exactly it, because that's the other part of the threat that's in this greater discussion of, if you don't do this or do that, we're going to criminalize you. And we have laws, we have jails and prisons for a reason, and I'm not anti those in any way. But if we don't solve the societal part here, it will never end. There will just continuously be, we consume more drugs in this country than all the other countries. We're the number one importer of drugs.
Right.
And it doesn't, you can blow up as many speedboats as you want. That's not going to have an impact.
No.
It's just not.
No, things will always find a way. If you stop them at one place, there's going to be another place, right? You can stop things at the Mexico border, but things are being sent in from China, or it's
Canada.
It's always, there's always going to find a way, because if there's a demand, somebody is going to step in and meet that demand with a supply in whatever way they can. And when you've got people who are willing to pay $100 for one pill of fentanyl, because that's where they are, right? Like, there's always going to be people ready to take advantage of that.
That's right. And when that stuff's not available, we saw this in the early 2000s, people built their own little home labs.
Yeah, no kidding.
made their own labs and made their own drugs. So you're not solving it. You're not solving it by doing that. You're just gold saucing it. You're just so okay. So that's that part. Anything else on that section?
Specifically, no. We'll get into more stuff.
Yeah. So the second part of this, which is bullet pointed here, these paragraphs are really kind of together. SAMHSA's put these strategic priorities to work for the department, again, capital, the department and administration. SAMHSA, let me read this again. SAMHSA has already put these strategic priorities to work for the department and administration, and again, poor sentence structure. We continue to redefine and repurpose our work in development of programs and interventions such as, and Hep C, state opioid response, expanding outpatient treatment and civil commitment, Dear Colleague letter, ending harm reduction practices, convening a technical expert panel on ending homelessness. So this is where I think, do we want to jump in like a little deeper into this particular one? Yeah, because I think this hits on a number of.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some documents come out about homelessness and crime.
Yes.
And I don't know, it was a year ago or so that the Supreme Court gave
Yeah.
municipalities a green light to criminalize
Yes.
homelessness, right? And we've seen in Montana
Yes.
some cities
Mhm.
like really going gung ho with that, right? We're going to
Yes.
criminalize the homelessness because if we make
Yeah.
it too hard to be homeless, people just won't be homeless anymore, or
Right.
they'll move somewhere else, right? Like,
That's
I mean,
that's the gold sauce.
right. And so the really, really concerning part for me in this whole thing is that expanding civil commitment. And
Yes.
and the stuff that they're sending us is saying, well, if you have a substance use issue or you have a mental health issue and you're homeless, well, then you have to have treatment, right? So we are going to civilly commit you to a substance use treatment facility or the state hospital, because in Montana, that is it, right? When you are civilly committed, that's where you go, is the state hospital. And they think that that is going to make people enter recovery and get well.
Yeah.
And we know you can't force recovery on people.
Right.
I mean, you see that people who are, white knuckling it through a substance use issue.
Right. Right.
But they still don't have the coping skills or, something like that. And they relapse because they don't have that commitment to recovery. They don't understand how recovery works at that point. And you have to want it in order for it to work. So civilly committing people.
Right.
And they talk about, if you're not going to follow these guidelines, if you're not going to follow this plan, then we're not going to help you with your housing issue.
Right.
Again, you don't get recovery that way. You might get sobriety, short-term sobriety, right? From that.
Yep.
But it's not going to last. And people are going to end up back in the same situations again, right? They're going to cycle in and out of homelessness. But if you're not getting any help at all, unless you do this program,
right,
it's coercive, and it's just totally antithetical to what we know works.
Yeah. Well, what's been promoted for the last 20 years with recovery? Choice, voice, empowerment, many pathways. And I love what you're saying there. I mean, and so Bozeman, October 1st, as of October 1st, there's no more urban camping.
Yep. There's no more permits for that. You can't do it.
No more permits. The $500 permits. There's no more, or the $100 permits. There's a $500 fine. You can't camp within the city limits. So are people just going to go to the county line? Are they just going to go into the county, across the line and right? Like, because so many of those individuals were living in RVs and working.
Yeah. Well, that's what's going to happen in Bozeman. Those people, you're going to lose all those people.
I mean,
those jobs, right? You're not going to have anybody who's going to check you out at the grocery store at this point.
What are we doing? I mean, are we just, I always feel like here locally, we just kick the can down the road.
Yeah.
We just boot it. Well, don't come here. Go over there.
Yeah.
Don't come to our town. Go to that town. Go to, right? So there's all of that happening, and totally agree with you with recovery. And it's kind of like the treatment court system. I'm not a huge fan of the treatment court system because they boast numbers like 90% success rate. The 90% is only when you're in the program.
Right.
As soon
when
as
there are consequences.
That's right. Because if the consequence is you're going to jail.
Right.
The consequence. So of course I'm going to go to all my meetings, and I'm gonna do a UA, and I'm gonna pee clean and all that kind of stuff. Of course you are. because the choice is you're going to jail.
Yeah.
So they're kind of taking that concept and applying it to homelessness and saying, well, you're either going to go to treatment or. So are we going to look at this a year from now or 2 years from now and say, hey, look, we gold sauced it. Everything worked out just fine. But as soon as the person's done with a treatment court system, they begin what you call like falling off. The drop-off rate is massive. And I got that data directly from the supervisor through the Montana Supreme Court. The numbers drop to like 10% recovery.
Right.
After the program. If you look at a year out,
Yeah.
the drop, it just keeps declining and declining and declining. So
because there's not necessarily recovery worked into it. It's
right.
just, if you don't do what we say, we're going to punish you.
Right. That's right. And I'll jump through the hoops.
Yeah.
And those of us in long-term recovery, we know like it's constantly, we have to constantly be working on ourselves and keep growing and learning and expanding. And it's a full commitment because we want to change.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it for somebody else.
Right.
So yeah, I really think it's very short-sighted. And again, they're just kind of gold saucing it saying, well, this is what we're going to do. Now, the other part of this that comes to mind for me is we don't have treatment facilities available.
I know, just the basic logistics of.
Right. The volume.
Yeah.
Where are you going to put all these folks?
Yeah. And we can't staff the state hospital as it is.
That's right.
Right. So
Yep.
There aren't enough beds. Are we going to find other places to civilly commit people? And then who's going to work at them?
Right.
Because we cannot staff them. Both the state hospital and the mental health nursing home in Lewistown.
Yeah.
Both of those are severely understaffed enough that, I mean, we lost CMS funding, right? Like the feds are not.
Yeah.
Feds are not paying for it anymore because we don't have the right staffing, and people are getting hurt or dying because of the staffing issues, right?
Yes.
So we can't just build new treatment facilities.
Well, that's what they're talking about here, and they've been talking about it, and it goes back years.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to ask myself, how is that concept was being talked about years ago and now it's playing out?
Yeah.
So was that planned a long time ago that this is what we were going to do? Because to me, the solution to the whole entire homelessness issue, and I can only speak for Montana, I can't speak for other states. The one thing we have a ton of here is land.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of open spaces. So you could pick a handful of communities and you could subsidize the building and managing of apartment complexes, like what you see in big cities, where you have block after block of a complex, 3-4 stories tall, houses, maybe 1,000 people live in one. You could build that and the government could subsidize the contractors so they could get paid at their rates, subsidize the loans, back all the loans. You could just put people into housing.
Right.
And you can offer treatment.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is cheaper.
Yes.
And way more humane. And the real issue is you have a problem with the fact that this person is homeless. So let's get him into a home, because what are Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yep, those safety concerns that are right there at the bottom of that pyramid.
That's right. It doesn't start with recovery.
Yeah.
Food, water, shelter. Those are the basics. So I feel like we're pretty good with the food piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we have enough food banks and free cafes where people can go, right? Like, I mean, it can always be better, but I think we have that. But we don't have the housing piece. Is just a constant constant issue. And the simple solution is let's just build more. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Which is the opposite of what
that's
these
right.
priorities and
That's right.
executive
That's
orders
right.
and everything are.
That's right.
They are very,
Institutionalizing.
they are
Yeah.
very clearly not housing first, which is where things were going, right?
Yes.
But get people a place to live
Yes.
first and then work on all of these other things,
That's
right?
right.
Like, how can you
That's
get a
right.
job if you don't have a place to live where you can shower and, you know,
Have
all
clean
of that
clothes.
stuff, right? Like, how do
right.
you get a job if you don't have those things? And so things
right.
were headed in that direction. Let's focus on getting people housing
Yes.
and then work on the other things, because yes, you're at the bottom of that pyramid of safety and all of that. And
Yes.
now that is totally gone.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's force, it's threats, it's, you know, it's just, yeah, I mean,
And I don't think that civil commitment is used that often right now.
no, it's not. In fact, in Montana, just this legislative session, the governor and the legislature passed anti-red flag laws,
Right.
which is something that's been promoted now for, I mean, this goes back pre-COVID
Mhm.
to address mental illness and homelessness. And these red flag laws, if you don't know about red flag laws, they essentially give power to law enforcement to take somebody into custody who's having a mental health crisis, and things like taking their guns out of their hands, because we have a mass shooting issue going on across this country, a phenomenon. I don't know what this is. So if someone's in a mental health crisis, we shouldn't be allowing them to have guns. I 100% agree with that. And yet our legislature passed laws saying, no, those are illegal in our state. But it's actually a very valuable tool to avoid a future tragedy when someone's not mentally well. They get their guns back.
Yeah, it's not a forever thing. It's a short term. Let's
Exactly.
get past this crisis.
Yes.
Let's try to keep you safe. Because I mean, we've
Yes.
also got the suicide risk,
Yes.
right? Like,
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
we did just have a shooting, right?
Yes.
In
Yes.
Anaconda. But in Montana, the bigger concern is suicide risk.
Suicide.
Just by the numbers, right? There's
Yes,
more
exactly.
suicide than
Exactly. And
mass
it's just a tool. It's just another tool in the toolbox to help. And it seems contradictory that here in our state, we would pass an anti-law, because the other side of the argument is, oh, this is a Second Amendment thing.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. It's a temporary confiscation of your weapons, which is for public safety purposes.
Because I don't support, I mean, back, I think during the Obama administration, there was no people with mental health issues should have guns. We're gonna make a list. And I'm like, no.
That's right.
I am not in favor of that. I mean,
That's right. That's right.
I mean, what mental health conditions get you on that list? How do you get off that? Right. Like that. I don't like that.
Agreed.
I am not anti-gun. I mean,
That's right.
I personally
right.
don't have any, but that's
That's
just a personal choice, right?
Right. But it's a responsible choice.
Well, yes, it's a responsible choice.
It's a responsible choice. I don't own handguns for the same reason.
Yeah.
It's risky. It's too risky.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about, right? Like, we have to get honest with ourselves about what is the real risk here. We don't have a history of a bunch of mass shootings. We have a suicide issue here. And in these cases, the person typically has a mental health condition.
Yeah.
And so
if you can take that gun away temporarily,
that's right,
while you deal with the crisis, then you're going to be less likely to follow through on that.
That's all it is. It's that simple. It's just that simple, because firearms are the number one way people take their life in Montana. So that's a whole nother that's like, we could do a whole podcast on this one, because seriously, this is one that is, I'm passionate about this one. And I really think that we really don't want to, and when I say we, society doesn't actually want to address this issue.
No.
We just sort of turn a blind eye to it and just go, yeah, because it makes us uncomfortable. It makes us so uncomfortable. So let's get back to the initiatives here and
Well, I just want to go back real quick to the civil commitment thing.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't have beds.
Yeah. Right.
We don't have staff. Where do those people end up?
That's right.
Those people end up in jail or prison because they can't be homeless. What are you going to do with them?
I'll give you another idea where they may end up in the future.
Yeah.
They're going to end up in recovery residences.
Right.
Recovery residences are traditionally for people with substance use issues. Peer respites are for mental health.
Right.
And I have a feeling that what's going to happen here over the next few years is you're going to see a lot of individuals with severe mental illness ending up in recovery residences where they are not equipped to provide the support needed
for mental health. Yeah.
For mental health. Because mostly in recovery residences, they're run by people who are in recovery from substance use issues and peer supporters. In fact, the rating system, right, is based upon that. So the level 2 and 3 have peer supporters working there. Now, you might get some who are co-occurring,
right?
But for the most part, they're going to be substance use, and they're not going to be able to do it. And so now you have this other issue that's gonna grow, which is the folks with severe mental illness who are homeless. What happens? What do we do? And like you said, are we going to commit them somewhere? Well, where are you going to commit them to? You're going to do a community civil commitment, which says you got to show up at the mental health center and you're going to get an injection instead of pills, right? That's the thing we're moving towards, these injectables, so that the person doesn't need to come in so often and it's more long-term. But you're also blasting their system with these heavy-duty drugs, and then it's dissipating over time. And I don't agree with that either. I think the person wants to do that. That's totally fine, because for some people that works for them,
And the vast majority of Montana, those things are not even available, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about population centers have those things, but I mean, we do up here some, but you get out into the rural areas that those aren't even going to be a thing. And so there is no treatment. There is no recovery support out in those places. And I mean, the way things are going, I'm afraid we end up with prison camps kind of things, right? Like we don't have room in the prison system. We don't have room in the mental health system. We don't have room in the substance use system. We got to put people somewhere.
Yep.
Let's put up some tents.
We might. That's how they'll gold sauce it.
Yeah.
Is by doing that.
They'll be the best tents.
Exactly. They'll be golden canvases. The other one on here that I want to talk about, and you brought up the harm reduction.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the first bullet point, which is the Hep C initiative. So the history of within the reduction of HIV and hepatitis comes from needle exchanges.
Yep.
And the whole concept of this is a way to prevent the use of dirty needles being passed from one person to another person is if we make clean needles available to people. So now that's been defunded 100%. You cannot use any federal funding for this. So for example, the drop-in center in Hardin has a vending machine. They've had a vending machine for a long time, and it's full of socks, and it's got needles and alcohol swabs and Band-Aids and literature about recovery. And I can't remember all the things.
Like Narcan.
Yeah. Narcan. And it's utilized. Every time I've gone there, there's empty slots and it's like a vending machine. If people don't know what that is, you don't put any money in it. You just push the number and this stuff comes out. And so that's one of the ways that can get distributed. It does not promote further drug use.
No, people aren't going to go, oh, here's a vending machine with needles. Let me try heroin. Exactly.
It doesn't, that's not what it's for. people who are using the needles aren't reusing the needle over and over and over again. And then someone else goes, hey, oh, can I use your needle? And you hand it over. Now you transfer hepatitis, for example, from one person to another person. So it's very interesting. I haven't heard anything locally from counties. So you can't use the federal money, but that doesn't prohibit the state from doing something to keep that project going. But I haven't heard anything. So my assumption is we're not going to fund that.
Yeah, because part of the problem is that most state money is ultimately federal money anyway.
That's right.
So,
and Montana, the behavioral health money mostly is federal money.
Federal money. Yeah.
So in a couple years, are we going to see a spike?
Yeah.
In hepatitis?
HIV.
HIV is another one. Are we going to see this big spike now because we're not willing? I don't know.
Right.
But that is the origins of where that comes from. I think of Open Aid Alliance.
Right.
That's
right.
the first organization that I recognize, that I was like, oh, that's what they do. So.
Well, and safe injection sites too, right? Like,
yeah,
which
they don't
aren't
see
a big
that
thing here.
much
No.
in Montana. No, we see it in other states. But there's companies like Open Aid Alliance is one that's how they started out. That's what they were doing. Now they branched into recovery things, but that's the origins of who they were. And, I get it. There's some hardline recovery people who would say, well, you're just promoting, you know what I mean? But so is every bar in a Montana town. It's promoting addiction because, so yeah, I think there's some of these programs, they're serving multiple goals. And I think that's one of them. So it's very interesting. And I'm very curious to see what happens down the road if the numbers do, in fact, increase, which I think they will, but we'll see. Because we're going to use gold standard science.
Right. But, and that's going to take a while though, right? Because you're not going to know about those infections right away because people are not going to doctor, right? Like there's delayed.
That's right.
The other thing though, I would be concerned about in a shorter term is like sepsis because you're using a dirty needle, right? We don't have the alcohol swabs. We don't have clean needles now. Right. And so even if you're not sharing, that one person is going to get an infection. And
and Hep C leads to other things like liver damage. You can be a non-drinker.
And get
if you're exposed to Hep C, you have liver damage going on. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point that we won't know until the person goes to the doctor.
And the chances of them going to a doctor are slim, right? Like,
good point. That's a really good point. I
also wonder if Narcan's going to get wrapped up in this because technically that's a harm reduction thing, right? It's to stop overdose. We're not saying don't do the drugs anymore. We're saying here, this is going to keep you from dying if you overdose. And so I'm concerned that Narcan is going to get swept up in that. And then people aren't going to have access to that necessarily. Like my daughter found out that her insurance company will pay for like one a month. Like, and she doesn't have any substance use history or anything. But she lives on a property where there are people who do use opioids and it was bothering her, right? And so she went and asked the pharmacy and her insurance will just pay for her to have like one or two a month. I can't remember. And so she just goes and gets, every time she can go back in and get it. But she's in California. California has way,
Medicare.
Way more programs than around here. But I know like out at Rocky Boy, they've started giving people like these orange dots to put in their windows if they have Narcan. So they're distributing Narcan, and then people who have it in their homes, they put these big orange dots in their windows so that just being in the neighborhood, which houses have it. So if somebody's
Right.
experienced an
Right.
overdose, you can go and say, I know that person has it.
That's a great idea.
But if that funding dries up,
Yeah.
then
yeah.
we're going to end up with
Yeah.
more.
Well, the supply dried up last
Right.
year.
Right.
The supply was dried
Right.
up. There was funding, but the supply dried up.
Yeah.
It wasn't available.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. If you're a listener on this podcast, you don't know what Narcan is. So that's if somebody overdoses on an opioid, right?
Yeah.
They conk out. You're sitting in a room, office, coworker, family member, whatever. You don't have to be at a party or a bar or something. You could be anywhere. You don't know. Somebody conks out. It's a nasal spray, and it literally brings the person back to life instantly. There's been a huge effort to distribute that to as many places as you can. We encourage it with peer supporters to go get trained. We have a training on our LMS training system, and there's videos showing you, right, how to administer it. I carry it when I do my peer support 101 trainings. I have it, and our state will distribute it. And there's been a change to this rule. I don't know if you read the new thing. So it used to be anybody, any citizen could get it from your local pharmacy, and then the pharmacy bills the state.
Sure.
That's changed now. Only provider agencies can get the free Narcan now.
Oh,
And so I don't know why that's changed. If it has to do with the supply chain,
right.
because it wasn't available for a long time. And the latest letter that came out said it's only available because you can just go on the website and you can order it and they'll send
Right.
it to you.
We
And
usually get
it's
ours.
expensive.
Yeah, we usually get ours from the health department, right? So they would be a
They
provider
distribute
agency,
it.
and they distribute it.
Right.
So,
Because it's expensive. I think when I went to the pharmacy here, it was like $75
yeah,
for one
Yeah.
for one injection. Yeah, and it does have, of course, an expiration date, so they don't last forever.
right.
So that's another piece, and you're right. Will that get caught up in this harm reduction? I don't know. This harm reduction elimination. It's kind of a weird.
I know.
Like harm reduction elimination. Is that how you would say that? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I think there are so many things that could fall into that, and that
yes.
I mean, harm reduction could be taking an antidepressant instead of drinking alcohol. I mean,
True. That's very true. That's very true. That's true. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of things that would fit under harm reduction. Yeah.
since there has been talk about taking people off their ADD meds and putting them at camps, like
I know.
and SSRIs
know.
and stuff like
I
that.
know. It's interesting.
We're taking away recovery paths for people.
Well, that's what it feels like is happening here. I see the word recovery being utilized, but it's utilized much less in this document.
Mhm. Yep.
There's definitely a movement to shrink that. And again, if you're looking at the document, there's a graphic that takes these bullet points we've been talking about here, and in the middle, it says cross-cutting principles, data-driven, innovative, and again, gold standard science. So to me, we're just gold saucing it.
Yep.
I want to know who's conducting that. What is this? Are we
Right.
going to rate things? Are we going to have a scale system? Gold, silver, bronze kind of thing. Who's measuring this? And who says that this is the gold standard? Because in recovery, I think this over the last 20 years for myself and from what I have learned through SAMHSA and other organizations, that a lot of times it's the more holistic stuff
Yep.
that makes the bigger impact.
Yep.
And so what do we mean by science?
Yeah.
Science is something that's provable, right? Isn't that what defines
Yep.
science? It has to be provable in a laboratory type setting, and it has to be reproduced
Yes.
again
Yep.
to make it scientific, right?
Yes.
How do we do that with recovery? I don't know how to do it. I've been in recovery for 31 years. I don't know what the science of it is.
Right. Right. And it's so variable. I mean, there are those evidence-based practices which may or may not work, but recovery is so individualized, which is like a main component of the definition of recovery, right? Is that it's individualized, because what works for Jim doesn't work for me necessarily.
That's
right? Like
exactly. That's
we each have our own paths. If you start taking those pieces away, you're going to take recovery away from people who don't fit into your sobriety frame of mind.
And I makes me think of pharmaceuticals.
Right.
It makes me think of, more pharmaceuticals for people. And we've been moving away from that because more and more people are coming forward and saying, hey, medications aren't bad.
Right.
It's not about them being bad. It's that they don't all work the same for everybody. And there are serious side effects, which you can't dispute, like weight gain, for example.
Totally.
People gain weight, which leads to other health problems.
Yep.
And that we can't just have one tool in the toolbox, right? It's like, it can be a tool in the toolbox, but there has to be other components to it. And those components tend to be more holistic in nature.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's something else in this document that I don't see referenced in here. It's all about the latest data trends.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Which, I mean, you see things come and go, right? Like, SSRIs are sort of declining, and we're going into the ones that are also norepinephrine, right? So like early on, we're looking at the monoamine oxidase inhibitors, right? Or the tricyclic antidepressants or whatever. Then we moved to SSRIs, and now we're moving on to something else.
Right.
Because we're finding things that work better or work differently for different people, right? My oldest daughter has treatment-resistant depression. She's trying, all of the things because she has suicidal ideation, and that needs to be treated in some way, right? She's got therapy, but she's trying to find the right path for her and what things work for her. And so there are these movements into different types of medications, different kinds of recovery. And I'm afraid that if we start limiting things, we're not going to make that progress, right? We're not going to move beyond where we are right now.
Right. Exactly. It's definitely, in my mind, it feels like a regression. It feels like a big regression. Yeah. And the lack of acknowledgement of the holistic stuff. And there's not, peer support is not all over this document.
No.
That's the other thing, the movement, the recovery movement in and of itself is definitely in the decline and maybe ending.
Right.
It may be. I mean, some of us will continue to do what we're doing, and we're going to continue to carry the flag of the recovery movement, but there may be this big shift going back in the other direction, for sure.
Yeah, there is actually, now that you say that, the previous strategic plan, one of the main priorities was strengthening the workforce.
Right.
And there's nothing about that in this document at all. And so, and I mean, I don't know if other people think about the workforce as being peer supporters, but we actually, we do, right? That's part of the behavioral health.
That's right.
Workforce.
That's right.
And
that's right.
In most cases, the most effective part of the workforce.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The numbers, the latest numbers that I've seen is there's 100,000 peer supporters across the US. That number was derived, I think it was Mental Health America put those numbers out, and that was taken from the billing of Medicaid. right? Because they can run that
Right.
query and
Right.
see
Right.
100,000. We're definitely part of the behavioral health workforce.
Yeah.
And when you read this new document, it's absent. It's completely
Yeah.
absent.
Yeah. There's nothing about the workforce at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's another thing that bothers me when I look over this. And of course, I mean, I'm supportive of, I mean, they have a section on key outcomes,
Yeah.
decreasing overdose deaths and suicide and increased rates of treatment. I mean, of course we want to do that. But a lot of these numbers are very superficial.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at increase the rate of treatment among individuals with substance use,
Yeah.
improve functionality and work-life responsibilities among people with SUDs. How would
Work-life
even
responsibility. That's like, that hits me hard.
gold standard science is what we're going to use to determine your functionality?
Oh,
I mean, you know what I'm saying is it's like, what is that? What are we talking about here?
I mean,
You know?
clearly the people involved in this have no experience in the behavioral health system, right? Like these things are hitting you and me in a different way than they're hitting people who don't have behavioral health
Yes.
issues, right? Like some of it is, going back to things that I experienced
Yes.
at a younger age, right? Like
Yes.
when I was getting diagnosed or trying to find help or, whatever. And so it's pulling me back to, 20 years ago when
Yes. Yes.
there weren't as many options when,
Yes.
yeah.
I know. That's how I feel when I look through this. And so if you go right kind of below that list there on page 5 with we're going to decrease rates of homelessness, we're going to, all that stuff. It's really interesting when you read this. There's like 1, 2, 3 different paragraphs with different headings. One is conflicts of interest. The public must know, this is directly from the document, the public must know that unbiased science,
Science.
I mean, I would say the whole document, yeah, exactly, evaluated through a transparent process and insulated from conflicts of interest, guides the recommendation of our health agencies. So we already know this year alone, there's been statements made by HHS that are not true.
Yep.
That's a fact. We all agree with that who have critical thinking brains. But yet that's what this is saying, that it's going to be based on science. But yet we have these statements that are released. And then SAMHSA funded programs and activities carried out by federal partners. SAMHSA will deprioritize organizations which represent conflicts of interest or otherwise compromise their objectivity or integrity to carry out SAMHSA funded programs. So when I read that, what it says to me is, if you disagree with me, we're just not going to give you money.
Yep.
That's what that says to me, essentially. I mean, in a polite way. And when we were talking about Gold Sauce podcast, we've been talking about this for a while. Is how do we have this conversation and talk about this? I'm not right. It's not about right and wrong.
Yeah.
We have to have these conversations and talk through these things. And if we're not willing to do that, then that's not progress at all. And that's the suppression of the possibility of new ideas, innovation, all these things, because it's easy to throw those words around in a document.
Yeah.
We have to have a place to have these conversations. We have to have a place to test out, NPN, anybody who knows NPN, we're big on pilot projects. Yep. And we go test stuff out with peer support, and we try it out working with law enforcement. We try it out working with pregnant and parenting women. We try it with children and families for family peer support. Sorry, got tongue-tied there. We try these things. But now, is that going to be considered a conflict of interest because we don't agree, or we want to try something innovative, so there's no room for that anymore? It's got to be science. Where's the science? There's no science going on at SAMHSA. So that bothers me a ton. That one paragraph really bothers me.
So on page 4,
Mhm.
there is one sentence about crisis intervention services. The heading is expanding crisis intervention services. And there is one sentence.
Yeah, but they're
It
committed
says,
to it.
we're going to do that. We're going to,
Yep.
it says, prioritize strong partnerships between crisis care systems and law enforcement and other first responders. Okay, well, I can tell you that the limited amount of money that is available in Montana for crisis services,
Yes.
I mean, it is inadequate. It's inconsistent.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
But there's also sometimes not a willingness from the counties or whatever to even apply for the money to try to work on crisis services. And so, cool, this is a nice statement. What are you going to do about it? Because it's not working, right? And including suicide prevention. Okay, well, what is the plan for that?
Like we said in the beginning, this is not a plan. This is not a plan because you have one sentence addressing one of your priorities that you listed at the top. There's one sentence. Of course, it's a run-on sentence, as most of the sentences are in this document. And I agree with you. In Montana, we don't even have the funding allocated anymore for counties to do this. Not long ago, I had a conversation with a behavioral health director in a major community here, and they said to me, the state has abandoned us. We're on our own. And that's what's happened. I mean, what used to serve as the crisis system for Montana was eliminated completely, and this quasi Medicaid based thing got put into place, which means you can only serve a third of the population because the other people who aren't on Medicaid can't get those services. So you have this huge issue going on there. And then you have now the feds saying this is a priority, and they put one sentence of effort towards it.
Plus, we're going to cut Medicaid. So that's going to, fewer people are going to have access to those.
Yes.
I find it interesting that they take half a page to talk about gender ideology and half a page for DEI and one sentence about crisis intervention.
Yeah. Because again, and it says right in that, it says crisis services in the U.S. have been inconsistent and inadequate.
Yeah.
And they give one sentence to it. That's their total effort. And SAMHSA has a document they put out a few years ago, 2022 or 2023, right in there. And it talks about the decreased use of law enforcement. And this sentence now says, oh no, law enforcement.
We're going to do that. Well, it's kind of like the governor saying, if you need help with your substance use issue, you can go to a sheriff's department and say, I have a problem. That nobody's doing that.
That's right. It's called the Angel Initiative. And I remember when it was first pitched to me and other peer leaders, and I will tell you, we all laughed. We laughed because we thought it was a joke. Honestly, we thought it was a joke. And that's what came out of our state government.
And sharps containers at sheriff's departments and stuff.
Well, sheriff's office.
Nobody's going to walk in there and put their needles in a sharps container at the sheriff's department.
No. And no one's walking in asking for help at the sheriff's office. And how pathetic is our treatment system if that's where we're directing people to go?
Right.
I mean, you should be going to the place that is a behavioral health center, right? That should be the place you're going. But we're telling people to go to law enforcement. There's actually, there's federal laws around this kind of stuff. CFR 42 Part 2 talks specifically about people identifying themselves, not being identified as drug users for the purpose of seeking treatment, that can't be used by law enforcement. Yeah, it's a real backwards approach from individuals who don't understand it at all. And it's, again, I think it's more gold saucing of what is really going on. and kicking the can kind of down the road stuff, you know. Um, the as you move into page 5 towards the end and then going into the rest of it, as you were kind of talking about, the document in my mind takes a real sharp turn.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read it that way too?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of, you know, it's loosely within the framework of SAMHSA. Then all of a sudden it takes this like right turn and literally says these like really, I'm like, wow, I can't believe that this stuff is actually going in here.
It doesn't feel like this is a SAMHSA. This
No.
isn't the place for
No.
SAMHSA stuff to be, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you can address these things, but it's not in the purview of what SAMHSA should be doing.
Right. I mean, this is where it begins to talk about, you know, we're not going to fund harm reduction or safe consumption sites, and right. But then also says we'll deprioritize housing first policies.
Yeah.
And in the priorities, one of the priorities is decreasing rates of homelessness amongst people with serious mental illness and substance use. So we know housing is a huge part of it, but we're going to defund these programs.
Yes, because we're going to force you into treatment in order to get
Exactly
any housing assistance.
But then in the second sentence, it says SAMHSA will ensure that federal funds for certified community behavioral health clinics reduce rather than promote homelessness. I'm like that whole thing, like, to me, it doesn't make any sense. You're saying one thing and then you're like saying something else. You're like, we're deprioritizing this, but then we're giving federal funds.
Remember when that homeless stuff was going on in Kalispell and the commissioners wrote that letter?
Yeah.
It used the same kind of language.
Yes.
It claimed that people were promoting homelessness by providing a warming shelter and services.
Yes, that it was actually bringing more people to town to be homeless. Like, hey,
because people want to be homeless in Kalispell.
Exactly.
Winter.
And see, this is what I wonder. You know, I was talking to somebody else about this recently. How much of this was disseminated to state DPHHS governors ahead of time, and policies have actually been shifting in that direction for a little while, because I agree with you. I think that we've seen this sort of language previously. And then the rest of this document goes into what you said. It goes into combating gender ideology, promoting safety of children, ending DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, if you don't know what that is, and all those initiatives. And then
protecting parental rights. Like that's an education issue, not a SAMHSA issue. Like it's just
policies.
We're just going to throw all of these things. And we're going to make you put it in all of your priorities for every department, whether it fits or not.
Yes. And it feels like maybe two different people worked on this document, you know, like one person kind of did the ending part and one person did the first part.
Well, it really feels like we just took pieces of this document and this document and this document. We're just going to shove them together in one document.
Yeah. And how does that line up with the priorities at the top? And you know this, like at NPN, when we write stuff, we either write it in the positive tense or we balance it out. You can't write from the negative. You can't write, hey, I'm promoting, and then you write it from a negative lens. That's actually not promoting the positive portion of it. You can say it equally. But
at the very least, you should sandwich it, right? It's like the whole idea of criticism, good thing, criticism, good thing, right? It should at least be sandwiched.
That's right. you're supposed to write a conclusion,
Right, that ties it all together, and
which this doesn't even have one. It just
no, it's one
ends
sentence.
with parental rights. That's where it ends, in schools, talking about schools.
Yeah.
Which, again, I said this in the beginning. I don't, we have apps for this kind of stuff. You don't have to be, some great writer, a Pulitzer Prize winner, to write a professional document and have other people proofread it and check it to make sure. And you can use these apps, which will help you use different words and sentence structure for sure. There's got to be like 20 run-on sentences in this document.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, how does that go out as an official document from the United States government when we're saying in the document, this is about gold standards?
Right. This is clearly not a gold standard.
Come on, this
Like,
is a draft.
I could get my red pen out and
I would consider this a draft, is what I would consider it. It needs to be revised, and there's parts that need to be changed and added, and some of them beefed up. Some of them need more. Yeah, what's the plan? So I'm disappointed overall in this document. I am pleased that they put something out.
Yes. Yeah. Because they took down the plan that was already.
If you don't know this and you don't visit the SAMHSA site a lot, we do. We've been on the SAMHSA site for years. Most of all the information and toolkits are gone off the SAMHSA site. So all the good work of recovery organizations, technical assistance centers, all that stuff is eliminated. And that's disappointing. So I've been waiting all year for some guidance and where are we going and what, and so we got something. So I say thank you. Thank you for whoever wrote this. Thank you for putting something out to say something. But it's really poorly written and doesn't really fulfill the need, or what I would say even the goal of this was. I don't think it even fulfills that. I think it started, but it doesn't really hit the mark. So
I wonder if we're going to get an actual strategic plan at any point, or if this is the only document we're going to get.
This is it. This is what we're getting. So I don't know. We've been running a long time.
Yeah. This has been a really long podcast.
It's a really long podcast. So if you've hung out with us, thank you for hanging out with us. But we've been wanting to do this for a long time. And this is going to become a series we're going to do called Gold Sauce. And we're going to talk about these things. And we're not going to stop doing that. We're going to keep on going. And we're not here to bash people, and we're not here to, but we need to get this information out. We need to get conversations going. So, reach out to us, reach out to us, talk about these things, because that's what the podcasts are about, is providing information, education to the general public, and to start conversations and hear other people's ideas. Because if we're not willing to do that, then we don't know that this is a really poorly written document. If everybody goes, oh no, it looks great. We gold sauced it. You get a gold star today. It's really poorly written.
Yeah.
Really, yeah. So thank you for hanging out with us on the podcast. I mean, we don't normally run this long on podcasts. That's okay. We're going to do more gold, and only the gold sauce ones will be on this subject matter. Any final words, Andi? We talked a lot.
No,
way longer than we thought we were going to.
This is what happens when you and I don't do podcasts for a really long time.
I know, right? Like, there's just so much, but there's so much content here. I mean, there's so many. You could go off and we could do, so that's what I'm thinking in the future, is we can pick things and we're going to do our regular ones. I have some interviews scheduled we're going to do, and we're going to try to stay consistent with our podcasts and putting out, having guests come on consistently and do them. But these are special ones where we're just going to focus on gold sauce stuff. So thank you.
Thanks.
There's always hope. Recovery is possible.
Recovery works.
There's hope in recovery.
Healing takes time.
Recovery means resilience.
You can get through anything. Recovery works.
Recovery rocks!